Howdy folks, hope everybody's tremendous today. Oh, now I can already tell I've moved my camera. 1 second. Which way does it need to go? This way. There we go. I knew when I was messing around with the camera this morning it was a mistake. Once you get something set up, leave it. Don't muck about. What works, works. Just go with it. So, right, let me just get the chat visible. Chat's visible, mic's working. Keys, are keys here? Keys are here. Look at that, what a pro. And Google Drive is not sapping all of my bandwidth. I've moved the camera too far now. Not that it really matters if my face is perfectly centered. It isn't symmetrical anyway, so it's never going to be perfect. So today, actually let's just have a look at this first. It's a little lamp I've been designing. And do you know, it's come out really good. I tested it last night. And I used transparent PETG. Now ever since Bamboo released the transparent PLA, I've not really used PETG that much because it's a bit more of a faff to print. And once upon a time, that was the only transparent option really, was the PETG. But now the PLA is there. Now, I generally prefer the transparent PLA for its finish as well. But I only had transparent PETG available last night. I'm running a bit low on filament. And it came out really good, and it's weird. I use fuzzy skin quite a lot on the shades, and I forgot that the PETG tends to print quite shiny compared to the translucent PLA. And it gives this like really like glittery look. It looks really good. So this lamp, I've got quite high hopes with. I will say now I've printed it, I kind of wish I'd done it this way around. Obviously the base wouldn't fit this way, I'd have to redesign it, but I quite like that, and rather than this. But I'm going with it. I've made my choice. But yeah, it's really cool, so I'll hopefully get that up on MakerWorld in a couple of days. Talking to MakerWorld, actually, let me get Chrome up. Just uploaded a new lamp this morning, which isn't one we designed on stream actually. This here, and it's a big boy, but it's really good. Again, using a fuzzy skin on the shade part, and this like gives just a really nice like diffusion. So I'm really happy with this one as well. So that one's just gone up this morning, so check that out if you're on MakerWorld. This lamp that I uploaded the other day that I mentioned, the like scribble lamp, that's doing really well. People seem to really like that. I thought they would because it's a bit different. It's a bit like, there's a lot of designs now on MakerWorld, and I think it's pretty easy when you like browsing through, a lot of them like kind of blend in together, and that one's a little bit weird. Yeah, so that's been the last couple of days on MakerWorld since we last streamed. But let's go back to Plasticity. Actually, no, let's go to what I want to do today is I want to design a clock. I haven't actually designed a clock in ages. And clocks, weirdly, are where this whole adventure started on MakerWorld, because it was one of my first ever designs, and it is just the way it is, isn't it? But it was one of the first designs I did. Let me see if I can get it. I wonder the easiest way to find it. If we go to collections. Got collections for clocks, I do. One of the first designs I ever did was this one, and insanely popular. Really like took off this design, and it was this that made me go like, oh, do you know what, there's something in this. I think I'd really like to do more designing. But I haven't done any clocks for ages. I mean, I think, when was my last clock uploaded? So are these in date order? I think they are in date order. So this was the last clock I did was Whoa, over a year ago. Over a year ago since my last clock, so I'm surprised. I knew it was a while, but I didn't think it was that long. Yeah, and every time I do a clock, they're pretty popular, so I really should do more of them. So today, I want to do a clock, a little desktop clock, and it's odd. It's a bit of a... I got a bit of inspiration from a design that's not remotely related to a clock. And I can't find the original designer for this, and it's a bit annoying, and I'm not sure whether it's AI generated or what. Found it on Pinterest, and the person who shared it, it's not the original designer. They've got millions of pins on their accounts that just seem to be like an inspiration board for them. And yes, I know it's not a clock, it's a speaker, but it's got this real like teenage engineering aesthetic that I'm a big fan of that aesthetic. It's one of those things where it looks dead simple and it looks dead minimal, the teenage engineering like aesthetic. Teenage Engineering being a design company, if you don't know, I'm not just talking about general teenage engineers. Teenage Engineering is a design house that make loads of stuff, synthesizers. We've done quite a lot of work for IKEA in the past. They are Designers Republic and Teenage Engineering and Vintage Sony are my dons of design, the ones that I like the most. And this has a real teenage engineering aesthetic to it, this minimalist, Scandinavian, quite strong and bold design. Now, for some reason when I saw this, I just thought clock. And I think ultimately what it is about this that I quite like and how I want to make it work as a clock is I want to try something two-tone in this top area here. So imagine where the speaker grill is here. I'm thinking a very small, and I do mean small, a small face with small hands. It's going to be quirky, weird little clock. It's not going to be, you know, classic. But again, when you're designing for online and things like that, I think sometimes it's just about making people look twice. So that's what I'm going for here. But I think what I want to do is design like an internal shape, an internal body, which will house the clock, have the clock face on it. And then have, if you can see here, this is like a frosted plastic, isn't it? Do something a little bit like this with a cube that goes over, that has the face hole cut out of it. And do it in a transparent clear, maybe? I don't know. This is one of those things where, yeah, I'm just going to have to test materials. I'm going to have to test filaments and just see what I think. But you'll get this like two-tone colour. I think it might be quite cool. I just think sometimes in 3D printing, there's so many designs which are just like, you know, simple shape. Well, not even simple shape, just shapes. Now, I'm a bit obsessed with this thing of different filaments interacting with each other, different filaments, especially the transparent ones, interfacing with each other and making these blends, which is like why some of the lamps I've done have had diffusers in them, why the funnel lamp that we did the other day turned out actually I will show you that funnel lamp because I've printed it, I've tested it, I've done my photos, show you that later. Looks great. So I always like that. I just think that's a really good way of elevating the designs past like more standard 3D printed designs, having this multi-material interfacing transparency kind of thing. So I think I kind of just want to do that. I give this a go here. It might not turn out great, but I saw it and was immediately inspired to do a clock. And normally when that happens and I see something I'm inspired straight away, normally it normally means that there's something to it, but we will see. And I think what I'd also like to do is have these bottom parts. Now, obviously, it's not going to be a knob and buttons and stuff like that. They're not required. But I think what I might do is, again, this internal structure, so the internal block that'll house the clock and have the face and everything. I think I quite like the idea of that. Effectively, just imagine it's just a solid rectangular block, and then the top shroud clicks on this part, And then I quite like the idea of having 4 different coloured corners that you can glue on to make like really weird like combinations of colours, and you could even add a transparent one on one of the corners. Maybe just like have some little shape cutouts and stuff. I just think it could be like quite quirky. Now, the defining thing's going to be the clock mechanism, because obviously I'm going to I'll pull the clock mechanism into Plasticity first, and we'll see where we're at with that. But let me just get a screenshot of this and we'll bring it into Plasticity. As I say, it's more just for when people join the stream later and they're like, what are you designing? At least there's a picture of some sort of inspiration there. Let's go back to Plasticity and let's start a new file. Let me save that first though. Because thankfully Plasticity is really good at auto-saving, but I'm pretty good at not saving Plasticity. So let's start a new scene. Now I'm going to pull in, I think I've got the CAD file for the clock from MakerWorld. Pre-modeled parts, clock components kit here. Yeah, and I really hate this step file because it's far more detailed than I need it to be. Do you know what I mean? I don't need, like, I don't need every component breaking out, but what I do just want is, it's the shell, this bottom shell. Yeah, it is. I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to get rid of everything else. All I'm wanting is just some sort of dimension for building around. We might as well leave the stems for the hands in there as well, because we can model some clock hands. Rotate X minus 90. Right. Now let's bring in that image. So, first things first, the top is a cube. And I'm going to say that the bottom is half of the cube. So for our dimensions and our, like, it's not so much the dimensions, more the ratios. Let me get a drink because my throat is sore today. Right. So if we do I want to do a cube, or do you know, all the time I've been using Plasticity, I've never used these. Right, well, we want the cube to be centered on the clock itself. So let's just do a centered square from the post for the hands, because then at least we know that the clock mechanism can be completely central. Shall we go now? Bear in mind, we need this dimension we're doing here. No, I was going to say what we could do is this going to be the shroud part or the inner part? And I think what we'll do is we'll design the inner part and then we'll worry about shrouds and the like afterwards. So have I got my calipers here? Because sometimes like, it's all well and good saying 75 millimeters, but yeah, so if we do 75 by 75, and then that gives us enough room to pocket in the clock mechanism, but then it's not too big if I want to add a little bit of a gap between the internal part and this transparent external part that I'm thinking of. So let's make this 75 as well. So we've got a perfect cube. Now I'm just going to actually center this box. I know that's not really relevant to the oh, I mean, just look at all this. Like, I do not need all these bits. I mean, God, it's deeply annoying, this I'm actually just going to get rid of everything because it's so frustrating. Like, because you can't easily just grab everything. all I want is this. In fact, I don't even really need this anymore because the center of that, well, I won't get rid of it. I'll just hide it. Right. You're in here, and I'm just going to pull you into a normal solid so we're not messing around with this ridiculous Chinese folder structure up here. So, I think the best thing to do will be, let's get the body, the internal body done, and then we will hollow out for the clock components. But am I thinking that this is actually, let me just, so that's 20mm on the picture, and that's, yeah, so it is actually half again. So I just, when I'm looking, obviously I've thought that's 1/3 and 2/3. But when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, really? Have I not done 75 here? I have yet. Well, sometimes your eyes just lie to you. So I'm just building the, well, getting the part for the bottom. And then we join these back together. Right, cool. I'm not going to worry about fillets and stuff on these internal parts because there's not really any point. Let me just check the audio's okay. Just check the audio's okay. The audio's okay. So, I think technically these can just be one part. In fact, not technically, they definitely can be. But I'm just going to duplicate this one and call it Shadow Bottom. Why? I don't know. Well, that's what it's called. Then let's join these together. Just give us a line here just so I can remember where the third mark is for later. Okay. So now I've just thought of something. Oh no, it's okay. We can move it in all dimensions. What I was thinking there is the middle won't actually be cube. If I want the external to be cube, but that's nonsense. I can just, yeah, I'm talking nonsense. So let's get a section in here for the clock mechanism to slip in. Now, I'm just going to use the corner rectangle tool here just to get a rough. I'm not actually going to use this to do the cutting because I'm not entirely convinced it's 100%. Well, it's obviously 100% accurate, but it's just more that there might be other parts on the other sections which I've deleted which could be wider than this. I don't think there was when I looked, but I could be wrong. So this is just really a rough guide for size. So what is that dimensionally? That is 56, which I think actually when I've done clocks in the past, if I had to have guessed, I would have said 56.2 as the size. So that will be right. But let's just put a little offset on this because we want a bit of tolerance because it's gonna. So let's put no. Minus 0.15, and then that will give us 0.3 all the way around. So not minus 0.15. get rid of this original one, and all I'm going to do is just a really simple, just extrude this out into here. Now, it's 75 deep. From memory, I'm trying to think when in the past when I've done clocks, how thick have I made the gap to the front? This is a good point of time to bring back that bit that I didn't want to see. These are all into bolts. It's like, it's so annoying. I have no real idea why they've done it this way. So let me bring back in that square. All I'm really doing here is trying to get an idea of like how far this protrudes out, so I can just make sure that my wall, this internal section here, is not too thick. So one hand attaches to this and one hand attaches to that, and I never use the bolt because I find the bolt incredibly just ugly to look at. And every time I upload a clock, somebody goes, I can't attach the bolt, and it's like, you don't need to. So I'm gonna put it there, so that'll give us this as a thickness that when we cut the hole and the clock mechanism presses against this face, the arm should protrude out this far. It may not, but it's one of them ones where it's a really simple change. I can just move this face. So now I shouldn't really need that that clock mechanism now. So I think what I'll do is do not do the tangent edges. Now, all I need to be doing here is thinking a little bit about... I don't want tangent edges, thanks. I need to be thinking a little bit about printing. Like, what's the print orientation going to be? It can print face on, can't it? So it doesn't actually matter. I was thinking here that if it's printing in this orientation, you'd have this massive overhang here. I think it'll be able to print on this face. Yeah. And actually that'll give you the best finish on the clock face as well. So let's just do this. Now, I remember that 8mm was always enough for the arm. It's a LaCroix, it's not a tin of beer, I promise. Right. So, the best way of doing this, I'm just thinking, what would be the best way to get this shell? I think probably just to make... Yeah, I think probably just to make a bit of a bigger... So if that's 75, if we were to do... Let's do 85. Now, the reason I want 85 is I think I might want a bit of a gap. So we'll have to bring this up 5, won't we? So we've got the gap at the top as well. So I definitely want this thirded. So where's my line that I had before that I knew was the third of the internal part? Go, that's it there. And let's extend that. So then what we can do is we hollow this. So let's hollow it. Hollow. Now, I think I want this pretty thin. Let's just do -2 for now. Yeah, let's try -2. And now the bottom part, I don't want a gap because it's not going to be see-through. So we can actually just get this. Turn off the isolation. Let's name some of these just so I know. Top shroud, even though as soon as I make any changes to them, the naming changes and it drives me insane. It makes it absolutely pointless in some ways, naming stuff, but I still do it. So let's get this bit and boolean away that, but we want to keep that because that's the main body of the clock. Now, these are going to glue on, so I don't actually think we need to worry about a tolerance thing because they're not going to be a press fit, but I do want 4/4. So I'm going to do, just going to quarter them out here. And I just think it'll be really cool if you look like on this like concept here. It'd be really cool if we print these in different colours. Have a base to your clock that you can customise and make different, you know. See, I'm quite interested to see how this will come together. Now, we do want some nice soft fillets on the external walls. And actually, I might bring in the top shroud as well because these fillets are going to have to match. So I'm thinking just like maybe a 2mm fillet. Yeah, really, really like subtle. Again on the top here, 2. Yeah. Now, it pains me this because I really should be putting fillets on the bottom, but it makes printing. I suppose a little fillet might be all right, but printing a fillet straight off the bed is it's generally a no-no. So do you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually just going to chamfer the bottom and just going to pray that nobody notices. I mean, obviously I know, which in some ways is worse. And then I'm going to have a little, I always like having a little bit of a seam, a little fillet that's only little though. Just chamfer these, chamfers just like that. Let's see. Let's just go for it. So this is the front of the clock now. So we need to cut the face hole in the shroud part. And I'm just going to do a cutout. I'm not going to do. I was thinking of something like grilled a little bit like this, but it will just make it hard to see the clock inside. Well, I don't know. What do I think? Do I think I want to do something like that? I can do that. I can. What I'm thinking is I could have diagonals, and yes, it would definitely make it harder to see the clock face, but I thought I would like the aesthetic. But no, I'm just gonna do like this for now. this can go back onto there because we don't need the back open. Yeah, so we should have a gap. Do we have a gap? Yeah, we do. So I think what we'd probably want to do is add a little internal lip here that this shroud bit can like sit against. But because we've got this little gap, what I'm hoping is you get like a bit of like blurry, like a little bit like how here you've got this frosted effect. Now we can't really do that. Although to be fair, the transparent PLA does come out with a matte, almost frosty effect, and it changes depending on what temperature you print it at. But yeah, I just think it'll be better than if it was pressed up against it. I think it sometimes just you need a bit of space for colours to I don't know what the word is, but like because I don't just want it to be the internal colour pressed against, and I feel like if they're touching, you just see the internal colour. Right. So let's just get this internal, which you can get rid of. Let's turn this section analysis off and turn a section analysis on here. And then we can actually pull this down a bit. We can get rid of this internal bit just for now because we don't need that. So what I'm looking for is this internal dimension here. Now this is interesting because this is the little bases that we've done separately that we're going to then stick on. I'm not sure I like that as an idea. What I'm thinking is so my theory is that obviously this top bit needs to press down onto something. It can't just sit otherwise because there's a gap between the top part. It would just move around. It would be freestanding effectively. So if we have some sort of tabs or like a lip in the bottom here that extends up slightly, it's then got something to sit on, which then aligns it with everything else. But currently, that would be us aligning against these separate parts, these. And if they glue a bit weird or don't align 100%, then the tabs would be not in alignment. So I'm wondering, would it be better to... Would it be better to like have something on that internal core part? It's like here. No, I'm overthinking it. It's not going to be a problem. He says. Actually, it probably won't be. I do this all the time. I think it's more difficult than it is. So let's offset this and bring this in. And I'm just going to bring this in minus 0.1 to give it a tiny tolerance. I'm going to get rid of the other original. Now you see we can get rid of the plane and then get rid of this offset curve, and ultimately don't want that. Extrude upwards. I just want it in the corner. Because if I was to get this and to pull it up to give us the lip that the outer shroud part sits on, this part. The problem there is if this is transparent, you're then going to see these. So I'm wondering if it actually would just be a bit more aesthetic if you were to do them just the corners. Because you would then still get the same. Yeah, let's just try that. Actually, I don't need to model that 4 times because they're all the same, aren't they? Just see if that actually works. Yeah, so the internal part of the top will still, yeah, that'll still fit. Let me just look at this on a section analysis. Yeah. So we've got the gap that we want. What's the interference here? Just have a extra part somewhere. Yeah. Just the old part before I cut it. So I want this face bigger. I don't like it's oh, that's a good point though. We need to be careful here, don't we? Because we don't want it going above that, because then you would see that hole. So yeah, let's try that though. And let's put a little chamfer on it just to make it feel like something. Now, do I want to do some things on the bottom? Like, do I want to like put some shapes and stuff in here just to... I suppose it won't actually hurt, because what we can do is you can because these are all the same, these quarters on the bottom, you can effectively just do multiple designs here, and then it doesn't really matter what, if you don't like them, because you've still got we can leave one of them blank, and then we've got the originals. So let's just put some, I don't know, some like venting. Can go rogue and just delete every line. So have I actually done this so I can have I'm just going to go for it. Let's just do some stupid things. Let's just do some... What was he got here? Well, obviously that's a speaker icon because that's where the audio cable comes in, power and volume. Let's do... I know, I'm just going to offset this a few times. 3. Offset D3. Offset D3. Offset D3. Right, and then what we can do is we can just effectively go, right, extrude W into there. Let's just do 2mm. Right, let's just do 1 because it's not that thick, is it? Extrude W, and let's just do 2. Extrude W, 3. Obviously this doesn't achieve anything, it's just just, well, in my opinion, it's just interesting detail. It's just part of the aesthetic of the thing. And actually, do I quite like that one sticking out? Yeah, I think I do, actually. I was going to pull that all the way in, but maybe he's not. Yeah, cool. I like that. Do I want to put some little fillets on these? Some chamfers? You damn right I do. Right. Need to delete the redundant topology from that. What other shapes could we put on here? Why don't we actually do the speaker icon? I quite like that as a... Do you know what I really want to do is I want to do this knurled knob, but it doesn't do anything. And I kind of find that annoying. Balls, who cares? It's me. I'm designing it. I can do what I want. It would be cool if it actually changed the clock, wouldn't it? Like if it actually used it to set the time. So where's that? Should we get wild and knurl this? No idea how to do knurling. I think I can guess in my head though. I'm actually just going to bring it onto the main axis because it just makes it a little bit easier when things are on. So I can always just move it back to where I need it. It's just if it's on the main center of the world, I don't have to faff around with custom, what am I thinking of? Custom planes. So let's just try this. Just try a rectangle. Print. Actually, don't imprint. Don't want imprint. I want just project. That's what I want. Project. I think this will do it. That's going to be annoying because that's not going to let me pipe, is it? Well, it will let me pipe, but will it be a good pipe? That's the... I think these are too thick for knurling, aren't they? It's going to look a bit rubbish. So let's just join them together so they're one and we don't have to be... Let's join all them together and let's see what we think. So then get that and boolean away this. I did the other way around, that's why. Too big, aren't they? So let's pipe this. So that's 1mm. So let's just do 0.4mm. Actually, no, let's do 0.6 because then it'll be 0.3. So at least we're past layer height there. 4. .6. And then 4. Hello there, Roman. Thank you for coming along. I'm glad somebody saw the MakerWorld post. I always post on the community feed in MakerWorld, and I'm never really sure how many people actually see it, but it's good to see somebody saw it. Design a clock, which you wouldn't know from staring at what I'm doing here, but it is a clock, I promise. Well, this isn't, but this is a knurled dial that I'm making. So let's boolean this away. Great, yeah, that'll do. I can already tell I'm going to change that, but just thinking of something for these little quarters of the clock to add a bit more interest, a little bit of je ne sais quoi, as they say. And by they, I mean not me. I'll tell you what, I'm struggling with this chair today. So let's leave one of these corners blank so I can just go back to blank when I'm feeling like this was a terrible idea doing all these designs. So why don't we offset this face? Maybe just straight vertical streaks here. I did 2 on the other one, didn't I, for the border? I sure did. So let's do a rectangular array. And so that would give us, so we did that one, that one, that one, and that one. So that would be right. Might be a bad idea actually, because sometimes these tall, thin. That would give us this one, this one, this one. Let's do this. Let's get these curves. Picked the wrong one in the middle there. I'm not sure whether I'm liking this approach, but because these are like a little modular bottom to the clock, feeling like it's worth just doing it. And then what's the worst thing that I don't use them? Why is this not filling? Vertex illegal overlap on end boundary. Well, that's a new one. I have not had that one before. Let's just delete some redundant topology and see if that helps at all. Sure did. This has just been a weird little edge that was hanging on for dear life. And then let's just do something on this one. I'm thinking triangle. What about? Let's try this. But isopram and quarter this face. I think I've lost my mind here. I don't really... Don't like that. Yeah, but let's actually offset it. Offset, and then let's do 2mm. Let's do that on each of these. I think like this might be one of those situations where less is more. Adding more detail where it doesn't actually add a great deal. Hello. Do you know what? Let's just leave it, because ultimately, I think what I'm going to end up doing, I'm just going to be using these blank corners in different colours. But they're things to test. They're things to be like, how do I think the aesthetic looks? Because my theory with doing this stuff is the colour of the internal part will show through. So you'll get the face colour from the internal block, and then you'll also get these little bits here that will have, you'll be able to see the inside through. So I do think it's worth having some stuff. I'm just not sure. I actually quite like these. I think these are all right. This, not. But that's fine. So then we need to design the hands. Now, I do actually have some hands designed. Shall I see? Can I bring them in? Well, I can bring them in, but I don't know if they'll fit. Let me go, because they're from my other clocks that I've done in the past. Should we go on clocks? And then have I got a one called hands? I do have a one called hands. Other objects, so let's not. Just design new ones. So, do I have these still? I do. So let's turn that back on. So this will be the diameter of the one hand and the middle of one hand, and this will be the diameter of the other. So they're the parts that they lock onto. So, let's go up to 3 millimeters. And then these are going to be really simple hands. I quite like the hands that I design on my clocks anyway. They're like these minimalist, like, just like bubbly. They're quite like plump, the hands. So I'll split these 2 mil thick because get a little bit bendy if they're not, if they're too thin. So let's just treat that as one hand for now, and let's have a look at the other ones. So other one was the slightly larger hole. So what we can actually do is we can just leave this hand the larger hole, but then can we grab this? Let's just make this a bit longer. Yeah, and then effectively get the same again. Oh, where's my other hand gone? Just for a bit of the aesthetic, let's just rotate this so I can have a little feel of how. Oh yeah, love it. Really, really good. They're good hands. Now I will want to add a little chamfer on them just for a bit of fun. So they would be stacked like that, and then the fixture part with the arms come through. Let me just see how they sit on the face when they are actually against the face. Ah, yeah, so they do sit inside fine, that's okay. Yeah, I hate this. I'm getting rid of this. I'm not going to print this part, so just be gone. Be done with you. Actually, let's leave it because I can just use one of the other corners, can't I? Right. So I think fundamentally, actually, I'm going to do one thing. And that is, now, I've made this mistake before when I've been designing clocks and thought, I haven't thought about getting the clock face out, and that I think that will be a little bit annoying here. Let's add a bit of chamfer in there just for fun. So how would we get it out? Because I'm going to get our fingers in to pull it out. So probably the best thing would be a hole on the top. Or do we just put in, yeah, I think this is the answer. Just put in a little bit of a finger hole. You can get like a screwdriver down or something like that. Let's do 3 of them. Or 22. Whatever you fancy. So if we do this, then we extrude and we cut with a W. That seems a bit pointless, but the thing is, it does, like sometimes just stuff like this, because when you push the clock in, it's going to be quite far in there. So at least if we've got like some bits here, you can get something in to like tug at it if you want to get it out again. Yeah, and then we're not really reducing how much contact there is to keep the clock in there. Let's go with clocks. What should we call this? Let's call it Boxy Boy. It's just the first thing that came to mind. So I think with the right colours, this could actually be really cool. And it's really difficult sometimes to show that in Plasticity. Really, I should get Blender set up so I can show you on stream. I just don't have, I mean, obviously I have Blender. I use Blender all the time, but it's not set up at the moment on, like as I want to say, like a scene in Blender, in OBS. Let's just put some colours on it, just have a little feel of what we think. Obviously, I'm just putting all white on now, but then we can change them. I'm not going to be able to do transparent because don't do transparency, I don't think. What does? Oh, bloody hell, I didn't know that. That must be relatively new. It's not really the type of transparency I'm looking for, but you know, gives us a rough idea, doesn't it? Kind of a little bit. So we've got transmission. Interesting. Oh, that's actually really good. I really did not know they'd added that. So you've got the incidence of refraction. You've got the top there. Interesting, interesting. Mate. Well, that's something I'm going to have a little look at on my own time because I did not know. This is why you just learn all the time. It does also help that Plasticity is updated so goddamn much. And I'm actually probably about 4 or 5 versions behind at the moment because they don't have a built-in updater. It's like say like a when you do update, it says, "Oh, go download this link," and that means I just then don't do it. Just adding random colours in here, as you can tell. Let's go for that orange again. I love like this, like burnt. Actually, again, very teenage engineering colour, the orange. You see, then you're gonna get the colours come through there. I think this actually could be really cool. You know, you never know. You never know until you've printed. It's got potential though, and it's weird, and I like weird stuff. Let's do like a weird pink there. You know where this is. I couldn't see what colour this is. Yep. Weird navy slash. Then we haven't put a material. Have we not put material on the knob? We have. It's bonkers, isn't it? You know, though, it's one of them things. I say this all the time, but if IKEA was selling a clock that was this bonkers, people you see every third interior design Instagram influencer would be raving. What I'm saying is the design is brilliant. All right, just accept it. Actually, it might be quite cool because when you do the different colours, because of the corner tabs, you'll get the little flecks of colour in there. I'm kind of excited about this now. I want to print it, but I've got some long prints on today. So this might have to be tomorrow or Friday. Why don't we add? Yeah, let's do this. Bloody hell, I didn't realise that material was going to show in here and all. Less excited about materials in Plasticity now. I just want it when I'm in my render mode. I don't want transparency in materials here. Just let me have that as opaque, thanks. Let's put our edges back on. I'm going to take a copy of this internal like chassis for the clock. I'm going to like drag it across here just because that's plain and we like that. And that's a good clock face. But I'm also going to take this circle here, I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to hide this and then I'm going to imprint onto here. Get rid of these hands because I don't need to look at them anymore. I shouldn't have done that because now I don't feel like this is central, but it is central. It's the offset, pushes it past. It is. Right. So 45 degrees is what I want. And then let's just make this as long as we need to make it. Keep extending. I'm thinking of just adding some sort of like texture on the front. It's actually down to the 45 degree angle here just so I've got something to reference off. I'm going to do something really weird and do half the face. No. Extend this more. Do the same here. all these. Oh, have I bugged this up? 1, 2, so yes, 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 yes. Delete redundant topology. Let's get the top back. So it's just another variation to try with a bit of a textured face. I think I probably will prefer the plain, but also it's going to print on this face, so that would be little overhangs, but I mean, that's fine. They're not going to be a big problem, are they? Put some little chamfers on them and all, just a bit of edge catching. Technical term that you know, edge catching. I know what I mean anyway. So, calling that done. Well, I'm calling that ready to test. Let me just get some other stuff I was looking at. I think there's another clock I want to design, and it won't take me long at all. Saved a picture of my sketch somewhere. I'm just looking for it on my second monitor. Nah, don't know what I did with it, but I know what it is anyway, so we'll just give it a go. Basically a really smooth surface modelled clock. But I'm just going to take a screenshot of this just for the socials. Screenshot. Right. Let's start a new clock then. Let's go new file. Now this is going to be a wall clock. It's not going to be a desk clock. So yes, of course we want to clear the scene. Now, because it's a wall clock, I'm going to go maximum bed size. So on the bamboo, that's 254, but let's just do 250. So it's not that big of a clock. And then we want 56.2 for the hole for the clock mechanism. Now, what I want is effectively a bit of a smooth, sweeping, like, wave to the clock effectively. He thinks, what's the best way to do this? I think ultimately, I think the best way to do it is I want the out edge to be square. Then I want it to rise up to like a face in here. And then I think I want it to then have a little ridge. And then another. So on profile, it'll be like this. So it'll be flat. Then it'll, well, this is the worst tool I could have picked to have done this. Is the, I'll just do it with straight tool, just so you can see. It'll be flat, then it'll come up, it'll plateau out a little bit, it'll come down, and then it'll be around that. So if you imagine that was a side profile that went across here, I mean, you could actually just, you could just take that line bevel the living heck out of it and then revolve it. But I feel like doing a bit of surface modeling, so let's do a bit of surface modeling. So I think it'd be better to do this in quarters as well, because if we do, well, we don't need it. It's a circular. It's the same all the way around. So hello, which software I'm using? It's Plasticity. You can get it at getplasticity.xyz. It's a NURBS modeler. It's excellent. Very different to some other stuff, but it is good. Now let's do another. Did I not put all them on the same plane? I think what I want to do here is I want to get these roughly in the height elevation that I want them, so I can surface model into them. Do I want that the same? Yeah, I want that the same. And then this one. Yeah. Let's just copy all these because I'm not sure if this is the best way to do this. Group them, hide them. Then I'm going to go rogue and I'm just going to try and do quarters. Actually, the best way to do this is to cut the curves, because there is a cut curves command. So F cut curve. Now. Interesting. That didn't actually cut the curve. Usual. That's a bug. Weird. That's one of them ones where I've used cut curve before, so I'm not really sure why that's not cutting the curve. Let's try putting them all on the same plane and just seeing if that. Curve. Oh, interesting. It works the other way around in the normal cutter. Bizarre. So you actually select the... That's so bizarre. Normally when you're doing a surface, a cut on a surface, you select the cutter. But here... I might actually email them about that, because that's actually a really odd thing. Just muscle memory there. I was just going into the normal order that you do cuts, and as it happens, it didn't work. So target body selected, then you select curve to cut with. Oh. Curve. But this is actually more hassle than it's worth. It would have been better just modeling it without it, but not in quarters at this rate. So let's bring these. Probably too much, is it? No, that's about right. And then bring this one up. So now we want to loft this to this. But let's do, don't want it straight like that. Want this to, right, yeah, so let's add a guide. Yeah, let's add a loft guide. So let's bring that down a bit to give it an angle. And then let's bring this up a bit. Maybe that's too much. Slightest little. Slightest little curve on this. Let's try bridge these. It's not really what I want. Maybe this. Yeah, that's what I was after. And then if we get this and remove that and then extrude this down very slightly. Yep. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just refill this back in and make it into a surface. Yeah, now I can cut this off. I don't like that profile, but it gets us somewhere. So I'll join all these together. I think I might even want to bring this further down. This is when with surface modeling, the hardest thing when I moved from doing a lot of surface modeling to when I moved to doing surface modeling more from doing like fusion and stuff was this idea that you're just deleting things to get the type of angles that you want. There's something about my brain when I'm doing like more traditional CAD that I'm very deleting things means you've made a mistake, but that isn't the case. It's like, what were you basically saying? No, I've built part of a surface and I have to cut parts away to then rebuild that surface. And it's like a very normal part of the workflow. No, not like that. So why don't we bring down? See what we get if we do a loft from here to here, because this will give us full control of the profile effectively. I'm not moving these 2 points because that's what sets the tangency to the surfaces that we're trying to loft between. So I'm just leaving them. Now, I think actually, rather than doing a loft here, you could probably just revolve this. I don't actually know if that would then join. Let's find out, shall we? Let's do it live. Yeah. So are they? Let's cut it down to the quarter and see if they do actually join it. Sometimes with plasticity, there can be like 0.4 of a micron of gap, and that's that. See you later. You're getting no action. Let's get rid of these curves because they're doing my head in. So they don't actually join. It's the revolve. It's fine. We can just go back and loft it properly rather than revolving it. I just wondered if that was going to be a little shortcut, but it wasn't. So we need to then add a couple more of those around there. So let's do a radial array. Is this not perfectly on the centre? It is perfectly on the centre, so why are they not matching up? Let's do... Actually, 4 might be what we want. Let's just do it though, because then we'll get one now, so we don't get one in the middle there. But that then doesn't match up. I think I'm just too dumb. I was thinking they would match up perfectly, but the top ones do. Curvature must be slight. I think it's this middle seam here, isn't it? So, but that then rises. So we do need one in the middle there. Alternatively, we could do this. Can we? We says loft. And then that's what we so effectively we've taken that curve there and we've lofted it all the way around to this one, but then set the edges that we were patching before into a guide. So rather than using these as a guide for this loft, we used these as the guide for these edge lofts. And then they join. But are we going to get a perfect tangent match here? I don't think we do we? No, we might be all right. Again, let's destroy the curves. Let's just remove these edges. So I'm getting there, but I'm not digging it out. I don't like these seams here. So there's only one thing for it. Well, the one thing for it is don't do all of them again. I can just delete them and do the quarters as usual. But let's just take those edges though, so we've got reference for where we need to be building out to. Shall I add to my pane and put a little bevel in? Yeah, let's do that. So I think if we do, it's because we've got an edge there, but there's nothing can be done about that. Yeah, you're always going to get this weird like seaming there. Oh, shit, let's just break these a little bit. So let's do one edge there. I'm in the realms of just testing ideas here. Yeah. And then you loft into there. Thank you very much. And please join there. Tremendous. Sometimes the secret of surface modeling is just breaking surfaces down into smaller sections. Now let's just turn the edges off and let's have a look. Yeah, see now it's smooth. Kind of smooth, but not really. Is that just because they're not joined? Let's just delete this again. Let's just try lofting from here to here. And then I need my edges back, otherwise I'm going to see anything. Interesting. So now we're going to have little ripples there, aren't we? Yeah. Ooh, I thought that was going to work there. See, it kind of does if you do this. There we go, that's perfect. No issue at all. So is it when then we do this? Is that when it's adding it? No, it's then here. But it's not joined anyway. Am I over constraining? So let's just try these as quarters now. Join. So that was why we were getting issues somewhere along the line, because it's not perfectly centered. Well, it is perfectly centered. It's just that when we did the loft, it's not got a line. It's not got a surface here to go off. I'll have to rebuild these. So pull them down to there. Oh, that is a gnarly curve. I don't like that. This is why I need to get a thinking cap on. Let's add a curve that we use as the basis for the angle that this curve will come out at. So it might be quite flat. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sweep it. Invalid or unsuitable sweep path? Don't tell me what I can and can't do. I wonder if just doing smaller sweeps will sort it out. It's always the answer in plasticity. Just if it's struggling, just do smaller. Let's get rid of these curves again. And the reason I've done that is because if I'm going to loft, it needs information to know what tangency looks like. So is that? Yeah, so we do need to add in a guide here. So if we loft this, and then actually do this as well, so we get another surface here for it to build tangency off that it knows about. So we'll just loft that. It's not very pleasant, that is it? I think part of the problem is that this angle here is very aggressive. So if it's trying to get tangency, it's having to effectively come down and then sweep quite aggressively up into that. Let's just try this side here first, though, and we can worry about that in a second. And J0, yeah. And then can I just radial array that to there? No. Yeah, so that's quite, I see that's like quite a lot of aggressive work the surfaces are having to do to keep, oh sorry there, having to do to keep tangent there. So what if we were to try this? Thanks for joining me on my, why don't we just try this stream? To be fair though, that's why I stream, because, you know, sometimes it's just a bit, it's good to see trying to figure things out. No, what about if we loft that to that? Very interesting. So it's somewhere along the line that has an upward curve here, which is what's then meaning the tangency is bumping outwards like that. You see what Xnerbs thinks? I know that's what you're thinking. The first time with Xnerbs. Pains me, I hate using Xnerbs, not because it's not good. It's the industry standard. It's phenomenal, but I hate using it because it's only in the studio edition. And sometimes with the studio edition, well, for a start, it's a lot more expensive. But also it's not as perfect as you would hope, though. When you look at the zebra. Might actually try some here. With the studio edition, it's because it's like a yearly maintenance license for Plasticity. I always hate it when I keep telling myself I don't need studio edition. And then I use Plasticity like once every 6 months, and I'm like, oh God, I would have been screwed without that. So the cycle begins again, and I'm like, when it comes around next time, I'm like, yeah, I'll get the I'll get the studio license that has Xnerbs in. Although they've actually just added some stuff. I wish I could remember. I was watching really good YouTube channel on Plasticity called Refuge 3D. He does really good updates on releases and the patch notes effectively. And they've added some new stuff, some new like types of surface tools that are in only the studio version. I think I might have to get the update installed because it looked cool. Not a fan. So we do know we have a working solution because we've done it with the other one. Yeah, see, it's this curve here, isn't it? It's like so... Let me just get it to the edge so you can see. Effectively, this line here tells us what tangency looks like for this surface. So you know what I might do here? I might actually just trim a little slither here. Now, what does tangency look like? Oh, why don't we get rid of that line and that line? Try making that bit there a little bit, the bit in the middle where we are building the edge from, make it a little bit wider. So it's not such a tight. Maybe. Problem is now I need to make sure this, well, I don't need to make sure it's not perfect, but my head's like, I need this to be the same as that, in the same position. So what distance are we from here? We are 16.42. So let's put another edge here, 16.442. So then if we do an edge here and we select that, it should lock. Still got that weird seam in the middle though. Let's just try this. I might just go back to what we had before, but I'm not really loving how this. I think this, you know, right at the beginning I said the best way to do it would probably be just to do the side profile and then revolve it. But I fancied doing some surface modeling. Just get those edges off to have a, yes, that's perfect now, right? So we got there at the end. Now, I don't necessarily want this. Bollocks, but when we did that, we didn't... I'll try this. We didn't fix the original problem, which was the fact that it didn't have a guide here. I got sidetracked by the fact that I wanted an absolutely immaculate, perfect surface, which would never even show up in a 3D print. So let's just, if we just radial array these, we'll have gaps in the middle. That's fine. So then, can I just do a really nice, just be nice to me. Loft, G1, go. Loft, G1, go. Just revolve, we can just rotate, radial array this, I think. And then we just fill this. Are you not straight in the middle there? Oh, it's because it didn't have anything to reference. So I just do that. It's perfect. So then what I want to do is get this edge here. Duplicate it. Grab it, bring it out. Right, let's just try how it'll loft into itself. I'm not really sure. Yeah, see, I want this smooth transition. Should do this. So it's got an edge for it. So then when you loft this and you select this one and this one, you know you're going to get a nice tangent edge. Oh, do we have... We do actually have those same edges there, so that's good. Makes it easy. So I don't like that corner. And let's also imprint this edge on this. So then what we can do is we just build a nice little custom profile for the corner. Because it's squashed down a little bit because it doesn't have a guide in the middle, which is fine, but it triggers me a little bit. Let's just try that. So that's too much. Bloody hell, we need a plane here, don't we? Because we can't just be willy-nilly, said that word again. Can't just move those in free space because we will mess everything up pretty quickly. So all I've done there is just made a little like surface, which we'll just get rid of straight away, that I know is planar to this, so then set it as a plane from selection. Yeah, it's better. Get rid of that reference. So now, should be able to join all these together. Join. And then if we radial array them, join them, and then I think we join all these together. Fingers crossed, this is the moment of truth. Will you turn from these little square sheets into a solid? Oh no, still a sheet, so where's the gap? F, find boundary edges. Yeah. That's a separate sheet. So, it's a puzzler. What on earth's going on here? It's just there as well. It's like this. Some weird... It's like sort of like a little weird half shape, wasn't there? Grab. See if this works now. Ideally, would not have had to have moved those because they just add. It's tricky when you've moved them and you want to get the surfaces back together. Let's just go grab, and then let's use this as a reference point. But then it's still. Actually, no, let's just grab it and put it there. Hopefully, they should now all align. Boom, we got a solid. Brilliant. So let's just get the edges off. Yeah, I quite like. That's like a smooth, like organic looking clock face. And I'll print. I'll probably have to do something wild with printing it and like cut an angle here because I don't want it printing on its back because then all the layers are going to like ruin all this nice smooth surface. Whereas if this is the print bed, which obviously it couldn't be because that's a beveled surface, but you know, say for example, we just make a really small cut here. You got rid of that. And then it stood printing like that. You'll get all the layer lines will be playing out with the most high resolution curves. So it'll print much better that way. But let's just put the hole in for the hands. Hole's 8mm because I know that from the clock I designed earlier. And then let's just do it. We've probably got, yeah, we've still got it there. That's the clock face, the mechanism for the clock. And then if we add up here, what should we say? I'm just trying to think for like a nail or a screw on the wall. Let's just do 5. Let's just do 6. And then let's just do a little, like a little channel underneath it. Well, actually, no, we can just do this. Just a little slot for something if it's going on the wall. I'll make a stand for it as well, just so it can go on the side. It's obsessed with trying to get me back down to that centre. And then we'll just do a really thin. a section analysis. I just want a little slot for a like a nail or something just to be able to sit in. Yep, cool. So that's 2 clocks we've designed today. I'm not loving this one as much as I thought I would, but that's okay. The other one, bonkers as it is, I really like. Let's just call this soft clock. It's got quite soft curves to it. This bad boy I think is going to be a real winner. I'm really excited about this one now. I wish I had a 4th printer so I could start it today. But no, I'll just have to wait. Yeah, it's wild, but I think it's going to be a good one. Yeah. Oh, and I've started printing the tests for the Majors Tower that we did on stream the other day. I've got the crystal parts. They're all printed out. I'm going to print these. I think this is now printed off, which is what's taken to the printer time, is the rocky area. And then we'll do a test fit. Looks good. The bits so far, the crystals look really good. So I'm hopeful for that as well. But I'll get that finished tomorrow probably. And then I'll get it uploaded to MakerWorld. Get the light in. Yeah. And then I think that can go in the competition. And then that's another design done. Something I said I was going to show at the beginning. I've forgotten what it was now. Doesn't matter really, does it? Right, I'm going to do my little shell moment. This is me on MakerWorld, Abstractia design. There is 600, and that's wrong. It's not updated. Sorry, that's right. It has updated. There's 661 models on there. I've done over the nearly getting on for 2 years now. Well, 18 months. All available commercially licensed. You can either do the commercial license membership through MakerWorld if you want to sell in your Etsy store or your Shopify store. Just physical prints. You can't sell the files. But if you want to sell physical versions of these, join the commercial membership. Or my preferred method is the Patreon, which is also linked here. It's just a bit better for me. It's a bit of a better deal. And also it's a bit easier to communicate with people on Patreon. But that's a me thing. If you would prefer to subscribe through MakerWorld, you can do. It's the same terms. Yeah, and this one, there's a few tiers, but you can read about them on Patreon and the like. But there's a lot of models, and I do a new model every day, Monday to Friday. So it just goes more and more and more, and they're all in the same subscription. There's not any weird, like, you know, premium model tier. If you subscribe, well, one of the tiers is just for one model. So if they say there's just one thing you want to try, you can do that. But they all fall under a single subscription. So it's a really good value. There's some great stuff on here, all sorts of lamps, etc. Let's just not look at the screen and pick something. Beautiful rose-inspired LED taillights. Simple, but again, very popular. People like this sort of stuff. Yeah, that was an easy one. I didn't design that on stream. I wasn't streaming at this point. But yeah, we designed this lamp on stream. We designed this a little bit on stream. We designed this heatsink lamp on stream. I need to update the images for that. We designed this iPad stand on stream, which was good fun. So yeah. So take a look at the stuff. Follow me on MakerWorld if you want to keep updated with the uploads on there. And also, if you could like or subscribe or anything on YouTube, that would be great, just to keep the numbers going. I really, really appreciate it. I've had loads of new subscribers, which has been fantastic. But the more the merrier, the more it helps me out. Feeds the algorithm, which feeds me, is what I keep saying. So yeah, that's about it. So I will be streaming again, probably on Friday, not tomorrow. I'm tomorrow off for streaming. I'll be streaming on Friday. Don't know what I'm going to design yet. Bear in mind, I didn't know I was doing a clock until about 3 hours ago. Well, that's how I like to keep it. come up with ideas. As I say, that first clock that I saw, well, it wasn't a clock, it was a speaker that I saw that just inspired me immediately. And I was like, wow, I need to design something. For some reason, I thought clock. So, yeah. But yeah, if you can follow me on there, on MakerWorld, subscribe on YouTube, Abstractia Design on Instagram as well, and I post lots on there, so you can see all the designs there as well. All would be appreciated. But anyway, what I will do for now is I'll leave you with a simple message, and that is, have fun, and I will see you next time.